Continuation of my lecture series in Going Concern for Audit and Assurance paper for ACCA students. Now, in this particular lecture, we are going to see Going Concern Auditor's Responsibility. As we saw previously, it's not the auditor's responsibility to determine whether FS can be prepared on going concern basis or not. That is, going concern assessment is not the responsibility of the auditor. So then what is the auditor responsible for? The auditor is responsible for obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence about the appropriateness of management's use of going concern basis for preparing the financial statements. So breaking this further, what it means is the auditor should evaluate whether the management's use of going concern basis is proper or not. And this evaluation is an essential part of audit of going concern assumption. The auditor's focus should be to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to evaluate the management's assessment of going concern. This sufficient appropriate audit evidence can be obtained through various procedures, like say through reviewing the cash flow forecasts and management accounts for the period post financial year end. So these are just few audit procedures. There are some more which we will look now in this next part. This is going concern audit procedures. Before going through into audit procedures, let us have a small recap of what we previously learned about management's responsibilities regarding going concern assessment. The management shall assess if going concern basis is appropriate or not. That is their responsibility. To make such assessment, the directors are required to consider all circumstances and facts known at the date the accounts are approved. So they are assessing, right? They are assessing for 12 months after year end. That assessment how they are making with all information and the circumstances that is available at the time of approving the accounts. With that information only they are making all the projections for the next 12 months. The level of details of the assessment and procedures to be followed by the management shall vary according to the entity's size and complexity. Yes, for making this assessment, if it's a small company, the procedures are quite straightforward. If there are some bigger companies, then they have to do projected cash flow statement and all those. There are a lot. Let's look into those. However, the minimum procedures to be followed by any company is to prepare. Minimum procedures to be followed by management to assess if the going concern basis is applicable for the preparation of financial statements are preparation of budget, trading estimates and cash flow forecasts, and an analysis of companies' borrowing requirements and forecast. So what it is: budget, trading estimates, cash flow forecast, analysis of companies' borrowing requirements and forecasts. So now we are little bit thorough of what is management's responsibilities and what all they require to fulfill their responsibilities. Now on this information, let's look what procedures needs to be followed by the auditor. The auditor, even at the planning stage, he will start identifying the going concern indicators. About going concern indicators we discussed in our previous video, and he will consider the risk of material misstatements in the financial statements that might be caused due to management not identifying properly the going concern indicators. So based on this risk, he will design his audit procedures. That is, he doesn't want any material misstatement due to unidentification of the going concern indicators, or to identify. So once the going concern indicators are identified, he wants to know whether it causes a material uncertainty. For that, he will follow few audit procedures, which he will list down during the planning stage. So that is why he is identifying the going concern indicators. Next, the audit procedure is reading minutes of general meeting to identify current or potential cash flow difficulties. in the why is reading minutes of general meeting, because general meeting minutes is the one where the shareholders attend. Generally, when we have any cash flow difficulties, that would have definitely been discussed in the general meeting, either by the directors themselves voluntarily or some of the members who analyze the financial statements would have gone through the cash flow statement, and they would have made a comparison with the that is the income statement, and they would have definitely arise some question if the cash flow is not good. So to identify cash flow difficulties, this is an important source. The next point is to liaise with the entity's legal advisors to assess financial implications of ongoing future litigations. This because there may be some litigation which, if the entity loses, then the entity might not have enough capacity to fulfill the damage claimed by the aggrieved party. Also, they will discuss with the legal advisors about the entity's possibility of losing the case, so that they can appropriately decide whether the going concern ability is affected or not. Evaluating the entity's plans to deal with unfulfilled customers' orders. What does unfulfilled customers' orders means? Unfulfilled customers' orders means order has been made by the customer, but delivery is not yet done by the company. So this what is there in this? Order has been made, delivery is not done. The biggest deal in this is that when let's take Flipkart. When we are placing an order, it's just one order from our end. But for Flipkart, there are n numbers of orders they are receiving from different countries, from different parts of the world, and they have to now coordinate with the supplier, with the sellers registered in their website, and fulfill the order of the customer. For this, there should definitely be a proper plan and sequence of how the order is fulfilled. If the order is not properly fulfilled, then it might lead to legal litigations by many customers for whom the order was not fulfilled. Also, the company's goodwill will be damaged. So that is why to understand the company's going concern ability, the auditor has to evaluate the entity's plan to deal with unfulfilled customers' orders. Obtaining and reviewing reports of regulatory actions. If there is any legal action against the company, we have to review if it's so serious that the company's going concern ability might be affected. So now, above whatever points we have discussed are just like few examples of the audit procedures that needs to be followed by the auditor. This list is not exhaustive, because for going concern audit we can never give an exact exhaustive list of audit procedures. It will vary according to the nature, size, complexity of the entity. The auditor determines what procedures needs to be followed based on his understanding of the company, of the going concern indicators identified, and his discussion with the management about their preliminary assessment of the going concern. All these are done at the planning stage. So at the planning stage, the auditor decides what are the audit procedures that needs to be followed. In the audit and assurance exam, you might get questions that asks you to describe the audit procedures that needs to be followed based on a given scenario about a company. They have these problems, or they will not say problems, they will give a scenario about a company, and then they will ask question on what audit procedures needs to be followed. When facing such questions, one important thing you should keep in mind is you should not just reproduce the audit procedures. Just say like read the minutes of general meeting. You should not say just that. You will have to correlate the audit procedure, the relevant audit procedure, to the scenario given in the question, and then you will have to give the answer by fitting in the scenario given in the question and by including the company's name and those things. Guess you got it. So for this, one simple tip is, first identify what are the going concern indicators that you find out in the question. So there may be some cash flow difficulty or something like that, and then there may be suppliers have stopped giving credit to the company and they have set cash on delivery. So all these going concern indicators might be hiding inside the question. You first find those, and then for those indicators what procedures the auditor should follow to reduce the risk of material misstatement. For example, if he finds that there is some cash flow difficulty, so what are the procedures he should follow? He should go through the future cash flow statements that is prepared by the company. For the next 12 months they would have prepared the cash flow statement. He should go through that, and he should identify if this going concern indicator actually turns out to be a material uncertainty that it needs to be disclosed in the financial statement. So if he decides it need not be disclosed in the financial statements, then it's not an issue. But if he decides it's a material uncertainty, then he has to check if it has been properly disclosed in the financial statement and all those things. So that is why you have to first identify the going concern indicators. So these are the auditor's responsibilities and audit procedures. So based on the sufficient appropriate audit evidence he obtains by following the audit procedures which I stated just now, the auditor shall conclude whether there is a material uncertainty about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. So now we came to know all these things. Now what if he concludes that there is a material uncertainty about the entity to continue as a going concern? Now let's look into that. That comes under reporting. There are three situations that this particular standards on auditing about going concern ISA 570 identifies. They are: going concern is appropriate but a material uncertainty exists. Going concern assumption is inappropriate. Management is unwilling to make or extend its assessment. Now